Before we get started in our class today, last week when we met, I shared, I think it was last week, I can't remember actually, but I brought to you guys the class from India that I did. Well, Eileen's here, and she went with me to India. And she was like, oh, are you gonna do these things? I was like, oh, I did that last week.
She's like, oh.
And she did. She says I did it too in my classes. But we had a really good time. It was a really great retreat. And I'm gonna try not to cry today.
You can.
Well, I'll try to save it for the end.
Okay.
So if I get started now, I won't be able to stop. So some of you that may not know, this is my last weekly class here at the studio, and I have been serving yoga in Franklin for almost 18 years. I started when Gabe was an infant, and he's turning 18 in a couple months. So just so you know, Franklin has my whole heart. And you guys are a big piece of that. Okay, I'll do the same for the end. I gotta get to my theme today. Okay, so last week I told you this was gonna be my love song. I didn't know where to go with that, and I'm really not in the headspace quite yet to go there. And this weekend I had an opportunity to step into a yoga teacher training. So the other studio I teach at Unity, we have a new owner there, and she's amazing. She's been teaching the dhanurasana style of yoga for over 20 years, and she started a teacher training program. And she asked me to be a part of it, and she asked a couple other teachers to be a part of it. And all four of us have over 20 years of experience. We've all owned yoga studios. We've all made yoga our lifeline and our livelihood. And anyway, it was really fun to go in there. I forgot how much I enjoyed leading teacher training because I haven't done it since 2020. And I was so giddy, getting ready to go on Saturday to go help her with this teacher training. I was getting my book together, and I was pulling out papers of what I was gonna be teaching. And then my boyfriend's like, oh my God, you have a whole book about this? I was like, yeah, you have to create a whole big binder. And he was like, why don't you market that? That's gotta be valuable. Like, there's gotta be people wanting to start a program, and you could just hand it to them. And I was like, ooh, I can't do that. And one of the reasons why I couldn't do that is because this information isn't really owned. It's information that's been passed on for a millennia of time. It just wouldn't feel right to sell it. I would want to give it. And so I was trying to explain that to him. He's not really a yogi, but just to explain the branches of yoga, we have a branch of yoga called karma yoga. Karma yoga is being of service. You know, being able to give your gifts, being able to share your talent, being able to give information, even putting away the props properly is doing karma yoga. Because you're serving the next group of people that's going to come into the studio where it's already nice and clean and shaped. And so just remember that. Karma yoga is also being of service when you're going to the bathroom and you're not just slamming the door as you're coming in and out of the space, when people are more in that meditative mindset. But that's karma yoga. Then you've got bhakti yoga, which is the yoga of devotion. It's the yoga where you sing praises and you play music and you dance, and it's all about the expression of that devotion. And then you have jnana yoga, which is about the intellectual yoga. So some people are more book smart, right? People are more interested in what they're reading. So they're reading scripture, reading old texts, reading anything that's going to provide nuggets of wisdom that's going to help someone advance and grow and evolve some way. And then you have hatha yoga. And hatha yoga is the physical branch, you know, where you move your body and you celebrate the fact that you're in this life and you're trying to align with the divine while you're in this physical practice. That's the point of physical practice. It's not to sweat, it's not to exercise, it's not to get lean. Even though those are all benefits, it's to align with the divine. That's the whole purpose. It's like a physical prayer. And then you have what's called Raja Yoga, which is the umbrella that covers all of it. So my mission, since I came to Franklin, was to teach you Raja Yoga. I wanted to teach you all the realms of yoga, not just the exercise. So I hope I've done that. I feel like I've done that. I feel like I've served my mission. But to give you a little history of yoga, the history of yoga is it goes back thousands of years. In fact, they think it goes back thousands of years more than what they've discovered. So if you look back at like cave drawings and paintings and stone that's been chiseled into, this predates the written form of yoga. Even if you look at the hieroglyphics in Egypt, you'll see certain shapes that look like yoga poses. But if you look at the history of going back 3000 BCE, 3000 BCE is where they generally say yoga began as meditation and as spiritual symbology. Think of the Om symbol. It's one of the most ancient symbols out there and what it represents. I've taught that to you before. But that's what was happening 3000 BCE. In 1500 BCE, the Vedas were written. The Vedas are the oldest scriptures and writings to be discovered beyond the tablets, like the Babylonian tablets that are in stone, right? So in those scriptures, they start talking about rituals and spiritual practices, and they talk about this thing called yoga. It has mantras in there, meditations in there. And the Vedas predate Hinduism. Hinduism is considered the oldest religion on earth. It predates not only Hinduism, but Buddhism, Taoism, Sufism, Christianity, Judaism. It predates all religion. It was the first spiritual practices to be done. In 800 BCE, the Upanishads were presented. The Upanishads started talking about pranayama, breath control, and why breath control is important. How breath control can calm the mind. How breath control can change things physically and energetically in the body, heating us up, cooling us down, energizing us, relaxing us, all of it. And then it started talking about pratyahara, the benefit of sensory withdrawal, and realizing we're not just our senses. And then came Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, much later than the Upanishads. And Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, some say it was one man, Patanjali, and other people say no, it was a group of sages that came together that wanted to specifically write down a recipe or kind of like an ingredient book on how to establish your state of yoga. So regardless if it was one man or several men, they compiled the oral teachings that were before that point more secretive, more mystical. Only the Brahmins knew these secret teachings. Only the rishis knew these secret teachings. So they were passed on orally. So then they decided, no, we gotta write it down. We have to record this. It's a little cryptic, but it's very straightforward. You may need commentary or a teacher to help to define it. And we've gone over a lot of the sutras throughout these years of me teaching. So I know you've got a lot under your belt already. But after the sutras came about, the sutras spelled out, ooh, psychology is what yoga is. Philosophy is what yoga is. You need to implement this practice. You need to implement these things with the moral ethical code. That moral ethical code is where I feel like sometimes people confuse it with religion, because it very much is similar to the 10 Commandments. Do no harm, do not lie, do not steal, things of that. It's very different than the 10 Commandments, but it's also kind of similar. But remember, yoga predates any religion. Coming back to that's pre-classical and classical yoga. Then in the 10th and 11th century AD, then we had Tantra yoga coming about. People started realizing, hey, We can do all these cleansing practices. We can do all these rituals. We can do these ceremonies. We can do this meditation. But let's start using the body. Let's use the body as a vehicle of expression. Let's use this body as a way to distill the mind. Think about when you come into class, when you're stressed out, when you're emotional, when you start to focus on where you're putting one foot and where you're putting this shoulder and whether or not you're breathing, when all that focus is internalized, like the stressors kind of fade into the background because you're coming into the state of yoga. The aim of yoga, according to the sutras, is liberation, freedom, and self-realization. Then you, with the tantric yoga, physical body, physical senses, all of this started coming into being. And after that came the modern stage of yoga, which is way more emphasized into hatha yoga. The body kind of took over. This entire 18 years, I've been trying to take you back to the big yoga, to the history of yoga, to the real reason we do yoga. And hopefully I've taught you that. So we're going to go into our yoga practice, and we're going to use the body, we're going to use the breath work, and we'll just get it going now that I've shared some of that history with you. Let's begin on our backs with your head to the front wall and your feet to the back wall and your strap beside you, please. So when you turn your body around, your feet facing the back wall, the crown facing the front wall, strap beside you and hands reach. Take a comfortable position with your body. So comfortable is going to show up in different ways for each of us. So for some people, the legs being parallel and somewhat slim is better for the SI joints. For some of us, having the feet hip distance apart with the feet rolling away is better for the low back. Some of us may still be unsettled with the low back, with the legs straight, and in that situation, please bend your knees. And if you bend your knees, try scooping the belly and tucking the tailbone under to see if that gives you even more relief. Placing your right hand on your abdomen and your left hand lightly on your chest with your upper arms resting on the ground. Closing your eyes, tuning within and finding your personal breath. When we are reclined, we tend to naturally breathe in a deep diaphragmatic way, but in case you're not, try to relax your belly so that your belly can expand and balloon up and down as you breathe in and drop down and in as you breathe out. This movement stems from the diaphragm muscle that expands and contracts as we breathe. And the deep diaphragmatic breath can help our digestive system. It can help our respiratory system. It can help calm the nervous system because it stimulates the vagus nerve. So this is a calming breath. And you should feel fluctuation also occurring in your chest. That fluctuation may begin or follow the movement in the belly. Notice already through your conscious breath work what you've received. Stay in command of your breath as we start to maneuver the body. And let's go ahead and take a hold of the strap. Draw your right knee in towards your abdomen. Unroll that strap and wrap it around the sole of the foot. Ideally, you want it at the padded area below your toes. And sometimes it'll slip down into the arch, and that's okay. But if it's at the ball of the foot, as you're gently extending your arms close to the foot and pulling lightly on the strap, you'll find your edge of flexibility with your hamstrings, but you'll also gain that natural flexion in your ankle. If the strap is more in the arch of the foot, you may have to be a little bit more specific with your action, pumping your heel up towards the ceiling, spreading and dropping the toes down towards your belly. So get your arms long, reaching up towards the foot. Having a light hold, not a death hold. Your head can remain on the ground. This is a gentle way to open up the legs without involving too much in your back. Dhanurasana A. Now, if you would, place both ends of the strap into your right hand. Take your left hand and hold down your left hip. Literally push down that left hip as you begin to open the leg off to the right side of the room into Dhanurasana B. Now you still have a good grip on your strap. Your arm is still straight, holding that strap in place. Your left hand's pushing down on the left hip so you keep your hips level and even. So the left hip should not be lifting into your left hand. You're pushing it down towards the ground. Now, elongate your left leg if you can. If your back allows, push out through your left heel. Find some strength in the midst of the stretch. And then push the foot into the strap itself. Good. Now, inhale, lift that leg back up overhead. Swap your hand hold. Hold it with your left arm and hand. Open out your right arm to your right side. Please don't go all the way into a twist. Stay on your low back and just send that leg across your midline. Keep your low back resting on the floor. We'll do twists later. We're trying to isolate the IT band, that outer edge of the leg. And if you push the foot more into the fabric of the strap, you're going to find you're exerting more force. Tantric yoga, modern yoga, was about exerting more physically. But remember, aligning with your breath helps align you to the divine. Good. Inhale, bring that leg back up. Exhale, bend the knee, remove the strap. And then we'll take it to the left side. So pull the left knee in. Wrap the strap around that foot. Sail that leg skyward. Extend your arms upward. Find your flexibility here. Put a little bit more exertion into your left foot, flexing out through the ankle, spreading and dropping the toes. And then once you find your alignment, it's important to hone in on your breath. Let your breath reign. And then go ahead and take both ends of the strap into your left hand. Use your right hand to release a hold down your right hip. And then send that leg over to the left side of the room. You're abducting it away from your belly. Extend out through your right leg if your back allows that action. Flexing that foot that's drawn out in front of you. Finding your edge of flexibility with your inner thigh, with your inner hip. Pushing the foot more into the fabric. For a little more if you desire. Good. Inhale, bring that leg back up overhead. Swap your hand hold. Lean it across your abdomen. over to the right, but keep your buttocks on the floor. Keep your hips grounded. Good, one more deep breath. When you're ready, exit that pose by bringing that leg up overhead. Bend the knee to remove the strap. Good, and once you send the strap to the side, you're gonna flip over to your belly. And now you're gonna be facing the front of the room. And from your abdomen, you're gonna set up Sphinx arms where the elbows align up underneath the shoulder bones. Let your forearms be parallel, let your fingers fan out. And then lift and lengthen each leg through your thigh bones, through your shin bones, through your feet, through your toes, and roll the heels slightly towards each other. Feel that action coming into your buttocks. And then retract the navel away from the floor. Push through your elbows and fly the heart up. Align your head so you're backing up your chin, you're backing up your ears. And then finding a comfortable place to gaze. So just feel all this action in your back body. This is bringing more prana to the heart. Take one last deep breath here in Sphinx. And on your next exhale, you're gonna slide your hands so the thumbs come up underneath the chest. You're gonna come down to your brow. Now, your elbows are bent, and they should be flying up, but hugging also in towards your side ribs. Now, it's going to help to squeeze the arms in if you go ahead and loop the shoulders up and back away from your ears. So once you loop your shoulders back and you have your arms really hugging in, stretch your toes back. Squeeze through your buttocks, stay grounded on your pubic bone, but push through your palms and lift to a cobra. And you can be low, medium, or high, but I don't want your shoulders meeting your neck. So create space for the neck. Deep belly breaths. And then on your exhale, gently start to roll down. And on your inhale, push your whole upper body up. And as you exhale, drop back into extended child pose. So in your extended child's pose, your arms can be active or passive. If they're active, your arms are reaching forward, elbows off the ground. If you want them to be passive, the elbows just drop. Coming into this calming, soothing position as a counter stretch. And then on your next in-breath, I want you to rock up to hands and knees. So maybe you need to bring your knees closer if they slid apart. Maybe you need to walk your hands back if you were in the extended active form of child's. Once you're in tabletop, go ahead and round the back. So you're scooping in through the belly. You're lifting through your shoulder blades and bowing your head chin to chest. Another counter stretch for the back bends. Good, one more deep breath. And then now loosen up your vertebrae and core, and you're gonna bring your blocks up underneath your hands. You may or may not need blocks, okay? But in gentle, I like to instruct from blocks. So when you build up on the stilts of the blocks, maybe that gives you space and room to step your right foot forward and up between. Or if you don't have the space available, you can swing that right foot around and then frame that foot with the hand or block. Once you take the lunge into that front knee, spill down through the pelvic floor. Spill down through your back thigh. So we're just doing more of a passive stretch right now. And we're purposely trying to open up this iliopsoas, this back hip, on that left side. And then we're gonna come up and be more active. So to become more active, you're pushing through the front foot and your hips are drawing up and back. And now let your arms fly up overhead to your half lunge on dhanurasana. It does require some anchoring in your back shin, solidifying that front foot. And now bring your arms down in front of your chest. Curl the fingers in, pull back on your left elbow, and take that thumb to the top of your head. Now gaze at your right thumb and start to rotate to your right. This is called archer's pose. Now you're getting this twist in. And in this twist, gaze back at your hands. Be steady, be focused, and affirm, I am focused on sending my love out into the world. On your out breath, you're going to unwind from that twist. You're going to place your hands down, and you're going to back your way out, knees together, so that you can now step your left foot forward and not between the blocks or hands. And at first, we're just going to get down into that passive piece of the lunge. And that passive action allows us to be like a magnet. Think of your body being a magnet and you're being magnetized towards the floor. You're getting heavy in your bones. Maybe focusing on a longer out breath, which is another piece of that recipe to calm the mind. Longer out breaths. All right, now to be more active, push into the sole of that left foot, build your hips up and back, let your arms fly up overhead. And you guys have done well about adding in the padding for the back knee if you needed it. Each side may be different. Take the time to do that if you need more support. Now bring the arms in front of you, curl the fingers in, pull back the bow with your right arm, place the thumb to the crown, and begin to twist and spin to your left. Take your time. Remember, the foundation is key. Concentrate your eyes at one spot. Make sure the breath is still flowing. Affirming, I am focused on sending my love out into the world. As you exhale, let's go ahead and unwind from that. Let's bring the hands down, curl the back toes under, and we're gonna step the back foot forward, bring the blocks in front of you, and fold down into your Uttanasana. Now you don't have to use the blocks unless you need them, but you are rocking and tipping your weight forward towards the front side of the room. Evenly distribute your weight in your feet. Look at your feet. Make sure the toes are pointing ahead, that they're not turning to the sides. Try to lift through your sits bones. Try to open up the back side of the knees, but without force. Grounding your heels, lifting your seats. Belly is soft, your head is bowed, the crown is facing the ground. Affirming, nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back. Now, if your hands touch the floor, you can just slide them gently in front of the feet. If they don't touch the floor, you're sliding them to your shins or thighs. And you're lifting your head, looking out with your eyes, drawing the shoulders back away from your ears, softening the heart. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, drop back down and in. Good, inhale, root those feet, keep your legs strong. Reach the arms up overhead. And then exhale, bring hands together and down to prayer position. All right. So look down at your feet. For better balance, there should be 2 fists distance between the big toes. Hands together. Thighs rolling in, powering back. Ribs settling down. Chin drawing slightly in. Because a lot of our heads protrude forward. So we want to line up the neck with the spine. Good, inhale, arms float back up. Palms face each other. Now really drill the feet down at the same time your fingertips are lifting up. And then exhale, swan dive forward and down, Uttanasana. Feel that coolness as you descend. Inhale, sprout up, Ardha Uttanasana. Beautiful, exhale, fold back down and in. Inhale, all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, Samastitihi, hands to heart center. We're gonna do one more. Inhale, let your arms circle wide and overhead. Keep that action in your core, that belly hugging in as you fold, Uttanasana. In and arching up, out and folding back in. Beautiful, inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, bringing hands home to the heart. Awesome. Now, half of the room can turn this way and half of the room can turn this way. We're basically going wide on the sticky mat. In every pose you take, whether it's your hands down, your knees down, or your feet down, that's the foundation you want to begin from. So again, if your feet are slightly turned out, that's not going to be a good thing. Have your feet square. The only variation that you can alter from this point is slightly pigeon-toeing the feet, which is slightly turning the toes in, heels out. But take your hands around your waist, loop the shoulders up and back. Let your heart be in the lead, and then activate your legs nice and firm, and then start to fold from your hips, not your waist. Let your elbows keep lifting up like little wings as you fold and spill your head down. Prasarita Padottanasana B. Again, you don't want all the weight in your heels. You want to bring it forward into your toes. Keep your shoulders looping back. Keep your shoulder blades protracting in towards the vertebrae. And then on your next inhale, lean forward so you really feel the weight in your legs and feet. Let your legs build you up instead of your back. Good. Now turn your foot that's going to face the front of the room. So for half of you it's the right, for half of you it's the left. Okay, now that you've got this, I want you to think about how much distance is between your feet. Because I can tell now, if I start to go into Warrior 2, I'm in too short of a stance. So just test the waters. If that left or right knee, the one that's bending in front, is going past the ankle, back your other foot away, make a longer stride. Now straighten both legs. Really look at that front foot, because if the foot's even slightly turned and you bend the knee, look what's happening, way out of alignment. You want that knee, when it's bending, to not go past the ankle, but to stretch out towards the midsection of the foot or the second toe. So just kind of test that. And if you're good there, re-straighten your leg. Okay, now let's lift the arms up, palms face each other. And as we exhale, we're gonna lunge that left or right knee that's coming to the front of the room and look down, make sure you can see the big toe. Inhale, bring it back up. And then exhale, open your arms, look out over your front hands. Good, inhale. Your head can turn, chin aligned with your chest. And then as you exhale, you can lunge the knee. Great modification. I know you need that right now. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, coming back in. You're trying to externally rotate that front thigh. Last one. Virabhadrasana 2. Okay, now from our Warrior 2, try not to change anything from your waist down. Or I should say hips down. Okay, the back arm is going to lower and your front arm is going to lift up. Now typically when we start to flow, or we're not paying attention to the lower body, we start to arch back, and all of a sudden that front leg starts to straighten and we start to lose the lunge. Now breathe into that side strip of the body that's receiving this opening here. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring the elbow down to rest on the thigh and take the other arm up towards the heavens above. You're trying to turn your torso so that you're mirroring the people across the room. Try to really press through the outer edge of that back foot so you activate the inner thigh on the back leg. That was a good adjustment, Jack. Try not to collapse into that bottom arm. And know that you are a fountain of boundless energy and strength. I am a fountain of boundless energy and strength. All right, inhale coming up, because I'm ready to get out of that. Lower your arms. Turn that foot in. And rotate your other foot out. Okay, again, test the waters, because each side's different. Lunge that knee. If that knee goes way past the ankle, you may need to step your back foot back a little bit. Make sure when you're tracking that knee that it's going towards the center of the foot. And now straighten your legs and lift the arms up. Good, exhale, bend the knee, going towards the back side of the room, and open and splay your arms, shoulder height. When you're ready, inhale coming up. Keep those feet glued down, that's your primary base. Beautiful, flow with your breath. I love the speed you're going. Advanced yogis lengthen their breath. And if your breath has length, the movement is slower and more controlled. So don't ever think going to a fast power flow class is advanced. It is not. I think gentle is more advanced because it allows you to steepen the big yoga. All right, now be here in warrior two. Feel your power, feel your strength. Keep the lower body the exact same. Hang the back arm down and bring the front arm up. And there's other expressions of this pose that you're welcome to take. Really push down through your back foot, straighten out through that back thigh bone. Breathe into that side strip of the body. Good, and exhale, come down and rest your elbow to your knee. Take the other arm up, fan the fingers wide apart. And again, there's other variations in this pose. You're always welcome to personalize your practice. I tend to keep it a little bit more basic, but you can always advance it if your body's ready. But say internally, I am a fountain of boundless strength and power. Good, inhale, bring it up. All right, exhale, turn that foot in. All right, bend down, grab your strap, and then face the foot that's coming to the front of the room towards the top of your mat so you can step up. And then relocate your feet, proper placements. We heard that a lot in India, didn't we? Properly. Stretching properly. But we were never told what the proper thing was. It was do it properly. Do it properly.
How she said it. It was very sweet.
I know, it was sweet. I loved her actually.
Yeah.
All right, ground your feet, spread out your toes. Fold your strap in half. Hang it down in front of your thighs. And then lift it up in front of your chest. And go ahead and notice, how does it feel? Because it's okay to take your hands a little wider if you need to. And then you can also take them a little wider if you elevate your arms overhead. If the shoulder distance is too much, spread your hands out. So make it work for you. All right, now notice when you start to lift up here, notice if you're tucking your seat and rocking your hips forward. Thigh bones roll in and power back. Notice if your ribs are pushing out. If they are, eyeing them down and in. All right, from here, try to keep that action in your core, in your thighs,
as you bring the strap just behind your head. Now you can lean your head forward as you push the shoulders back. As you push the shoulders back, you're going to start to feel vibration in the strap. We hear that term, we hold the weight of the world on our shoulders, and there's a lot of tension housed here. This is helping us to release some of that. Inhale, lift the arms straight up. Exhale, bring the arms back down. All right, we're going to take this into a back bend. So when you're ready, inhale in front of the chest, and then all the way back alongside your ears. Exhale, bend the arms, and you're going to forget about what I told you before, because now we are going to tip the thighs and hips forward. Good, but you're not done. Lift through your floating base ribs, and lift through your side waist, and feel your chest ballooning up, okay? That will naturally start to loop the head back. All right, now start to press the strap towards the wall behind you, up and out, up and out, up and out, up and out. Find your safety net with your neck. Breathe in and come up. Breathe out and lower the hands down. Good. Now take the strap behind your back. Sorry, we're doing a lot of shoulder stuff.
All right.
Okay. Shoulders are going to roll back. And when you roll the shoulders back and get that ruching, get that protraction, now lift the arms away and you're going to feel that squeeze even more. All right, with this action, you can't help not to push and protrude the chest forward. That's okay. This is starting to create the back bend.